We have a tropical storm that's developed in the Atlantic. Hi, I'm Mike Naso with the latest on the tropics. Tropical Storm Danielle. It has developed way up north here in the North Atlantic, and you can see it's getting much better organized. It's closing in on hurricane intensity. It should become a hurricane in the next 12 to 24 hours, and then possibly a strong hurricane. Right now, the forecast is a Category 2, but it could even become a major hurricane, and it would be the first hurricane of the year and the first major, but it should stay way out at sea. We still have our Invest Area 91L, which I think is looking better than ever tonight, and it's not there yet, but it could get there. And then we have a system off Africa that's not showing any signs of life. Let's get right down to it with Danielle. As of 9 p.m. GMT, that's Greenwich time, I believe, which is 5 p.m. Eastern time. Danielle was at 38.1 north, 44.5 west, winds up to 60. So it is a strong tropical storm drifting east at 2, and again, that pressure is still over 1,000 millibars, but it should be a hurricane and take a very slow track and just progress to the northeast. By midweek, it should be a hurricane still out over the North Atlantic, not bothering anybody, well away from Newfoundland, well away from the Azores. Nevertheless, for shipping interests, you'll want to keep an eye on it. There's the satellite, and you can clearly see Danielle's trying to close off an eye. This thing's almost certain to be our first hurricane. We made it from July all the way through till September 1st without our fourth named storm. Now it looks like we're going to have a hurricane very quickly here, but thankfully it should remain out at sea. And this was from the area that we weren't watching, because we had Invest 91L, which is still out there, Invest 92L, which dissipated, and now this was Invest 93, which popped up very quickly, but the models quickly jumped on as a developing storm. You can see the computer models are in very good agreement there that Danielle should remain out at sea, although the Canadian loops it around as a very large post-tropical system up in the far reaches of the North Atlantic. It's not very often that you see areas there of France on a weather map for hurricanes, but that's how far this system is from areas of the United States. Now here are the European ensembles, and you can see they keep Danielle out. It keeps our system 91L here out to sea. However, they show another system leaving Africa in about, say, 200 hours or so, and that's a long way out, but it is an indication that we're probably still going to have some African waves that we're going to have to watch as they move to the west, and that's the European ensembles. The GFS, same type of deal here. You can see a lot of squiggles everywhere as we have our first system here, second system here, and then more systems leaving Africa in the longer range. Now, 91L is still with us. There's no sign of a well-defined circulation yet, but this does have a high likelihood over the next few days of development. And the computer models, the Canadian and the European in particular, have shifted west. And while most of them still show this moving out to sea, and with Danielle there, that's a very likely possibility, weaker systems tend to propagate more to the west in the low-level flow, whereas if it was strengthening quickly, it'd turn very rapidly. So, as it's weak right now, you have to give some idea, some credence to the possibility that it may end up moving there further west, and if it does, we'd have to deal with it. Now, whether or not it would hit land, I don't know, but there is a big difference between making the turn near 62 west and making a turn near 76 west. That's the difference between being east of Bermuda or being near the Carolinas. So we're going to watch this. It's still a long, long way away. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days before we'd even have a threat to the Bahamas or the East Coast or Bermuda for that matter. But it's something we got to watch. Now, this is the European model, and you can see it takes our system, and this is on September 11th, so you're talking 10 days away. It takes our system there very close to the area north of the Bahamas and the southeast coast, and there are building heights here which would likely allow an East Coast strike of some type, and that would be if the European model turns out. Now, right now, it's still in the formative stages, but I have to say that people have been, talking it down the last few days. I'm rather impressed with it tonight. It does have some shape, form to it. It looks like it's slowing down, trying to catch its breath, and it might be doing something. So we're going to watch this. Now, one reason why it might be showing a little more life tonight, look at this wind shear. That tropical upper tropospheric trough is still in there, but Danielle's up here in a good environment, and then our wave is down here in a good environment, and once it makes it through, it should have pretty good conditions in the upper level environment, as well as warm water, and you can see that even better here on the shear tendencies. The blues and greens are more favorable. You can see that's a more favorable area near the Sargasso Sea there. So, we're going to keep an eye on it. There's nothing there yet, but it does bear watching. Now, this is our other invest. This is 94L. This one has completely petered out, but all indications are this would turn very quickly. But don't rule out some development as it gets further out, similar to Danielle, and we're going to watch that very carefully. Here's the satellite off Africa. You can see there's our system that we just talked about, 94, and it's looking a little naked right now, but it did have a good spin to it. That's why it was designated as an invest. But look at this. Look at this. Look at this. We have a wave train that's going to exit, so, you know, I hope we didn't get too overzealous talking about how slow it was for August, and things light up here. You can see Danielle there spinning up towards hurricane strength on the left side of your screen. So to recap, we have Danielle, Tropical Storm Danielle, the fourth named storm so far of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, forecast by the National Hurricane Center to be at least a 100-mile-per-hour hurricane of Category 2 strength. If it goes up beyond Category 2 to a 3, it would be a major hurricane, and it should remain out at sea. We have an invest area right in here, which is looking bone dry, but it is something we'll watch. That will likely remain far out at sea, as well as more waves off Africa. And we're watching this area. I'm watching this with much more passion tonight than I have been, because number one, I think it's looking look at that. It's looking better organized, clearly. And those models, the Canadian and the European, showing more of a threat down the road. I hope that's not a trend. We're going to keep an eye on it and update you. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on Danielle and the rest of the tropics, and I'll talk to you guys next time.